Hello again, everybody. This is Derek, and I am coming back at you with another wargaming and miniature video. In today's video, we're going to do a spotlight on the terrain that I have built so far, specifically my 15mm terrain for Meg, which is a Mortem et Gloriam ancient medieval combat. Alright, so first off, I took a part of my tablecloth blanket, which is this blanket here, which was just over 9 feet long, and I cut 3 feet of it off the end. So now it's a 6 foot, a little bit over 6 foot, and I have it still on the table because this is a 6 foot table. And then it was 5 foot wide because it was going to cover a ping pong table, but it only needs to be 4 foot wide to cover this table, which is perfectly fine. It just has a little overlap, as you can see. But that makes this piece, this chunk that I cut out, 5 foot. And for Meg's Magna battles, you only need a 3x4 battlefield. So what I did was I just folded 6 inches off the edge to mark off where the 4 foot mark is. But I eventually, maybe later this evening, I plan to cut that to make this an actual 3x4. Okay, I went ahead and laid out a couple of my river pieces just to see if they would cover. I know they would. These are MDF backed rivers. They're approximately 2 inches wide. I also have hard roads, that I can lay out. I also have like pre-manufactured roads, and I also have some thin rivers. These were initially created for a Quatre Bras battle in 15mm, but I would have, and I cut them in such a way that once I angled them so that once I laid them out, they would fit specifically for Quatre Bras. But that was under the assumption that I would be playing on the full 4x6. I also have some extremely wide rivers. These rivers I made for Bolt Action, which was going to be a 28mm war game. I still have a bunch of those as well. And then I also have flexible roads and rivers in this box. I have some felt roads, and then I even have some cobblestone roads, and then other hard roads. These are all MDF. This was actually on balsa, not balsa, hobby plywood. But that's not why I got that tub out. The reason why I got that tub out is I have cut a piece of rubber that I'm going to make a coastline for, so that if there is a secure flank in Meg, that a coast can be laid out. And again, this is the straight end, and this is a cut beveled edge that's going to have the grass on it. And basically you would just lay it out on the end or the edge of your battlefield. So that will be eventually, could be a coast. Remember, this is going to be cut off. and then this would be the playing area. It's not, what do they say? Normally it has to be less than 6 base widths for a Maximus, and so for Magna that would be 4 base widths, and this is perfect. 4 base widths is right about there, so this could be used with Maximus as well, because it doesn't say it has to be a certain size, it just says it has to be less than a certain size. So if this is 4, which is also less than 6. Alright, the first one I want to show off is a plowed field, right? Plowed crops. We have a 7 base width plowed field that can go, along the edge, could go in the center, wherever it wants to go. I am going to place it. I'm going to place it right there. Okay, I've made a couple of hills, and I'm kind of disappointed with these hills. I'm going to let you know that light earth, I didn't cover it enough with grass. So what I plan to do, and this is going to be maybe later tonight, I'm going to take a spray can of OD and I'm going to spray it and give this whole hill, both of these hills, a coat of green, which is going to hopefully blend all these hills together. Now these hills are 7 base widths, and I'm probably going to have to do the same on these mountains as well, maybe a little less so, but I did put quite a bit of scatter terrain on these, and but this light area is really standing out as like, you can see it on the map, it just stands out way too much. And these are mountains. Okay, and these pieces of terrain, all 3 of these, we've got 2 large compulsories, and we have a smaller optional. These are basically flat, just grass, deadfall in the center, a little bit of dirt texture and stuff like that. But what these are supposed to be are woods or forests, right? Now, they wouldn't be woods or forests just like this. You would need to get your trees, which I have in this tub, and what I would do is I would lay them, if they didn't stick to my finger, I would lay them in random. Now the trees are on fender washers to give them weight so they don't tip over or slide or whatever. Now these trees, I think, I don't remember the manufacturer, it's a German railroad company, and you get 100 trees in a package, and it was well worth it, I think. Okay, and you can see that I am putting these on here, just randomly. But if I wanted, and these all look like they would be woods, but if I wanted to say something was a forest, I would just add few more. Right? And then this way it's like really packed in there. And you could see that that's different than this. And I could even maybe put a few more just to really accentuate the fact that it's supposed to be a forest and not just a woods. You know, something like that. And I also made a couple of the smaller optional hills. Okay, so depending on the terrain, the battle location, you might have more hills or less hills, but I wanted to make sure I had enough hills. And then I made a swamp, a marsh, a bog. I think it could stay just like this, but I was actually considering adding a few tufts on there as well, just to give it a little bit more variety. And then I built a smaller plowed field, different crop. Yeah. And I built a lake just in case I needed, you know, a lake. And all this terrain here is for Mortem et Gloriam. Now you're never going to have your battlefield completely covered like this, right? Well, hopefully you wouldn't, but you can. Actually, terrain is not supposed to be this close, and usually you only have like 2 difficult compulsories and then maybe a maximum of like 6 optionals. So you wouldn't have this many. All right, in addition to this, I have built a Roman town. The Roman town, I have a video specifically on how I built this Roman town, so you can go check that out. But these buildings are not glued down. They're specifically laid out in a way where if you're moving troops through there, you can move the buildings out of the way. But there's the Roman town. I have a tall crop. So this is a crop that's later, ready to be harvested. But these are also movable. So if you're moving troops through there, you can adjust how your tall crops are in the position. Yeah, so these all can be moved. This is a doormat that was cut down to 2 by 2.5 base widths. I have a Gaelic village that, as you can see, it's not finished. I'm still working on that. Okay, I have 2 more boards that I cut and I put texture on, but basically one is going to be just a brush. I'm going to put it's going to look a little bit like that without the water. And then this one is going to be my vineyard. I still need to make vineyard pieces. And then I'm also going to, a lot like this field, it's going to have an outer perimeter, maybe with a more defined hedge. That's kind of like a wild hedge. I might put a cultivated hedge on there. It's going to be a very manicured hedge. in addition to all that, I've got quite a bit of little pieces. Like this could go as part of my orchard, right? I've got pieces like this that could fit into an orchard. I also have pieces like this that I could turn any of the fields into just a crop field by laying it down. Plus I've got a variety of sticks with just simple hedges that if I need to maybe make a boundaried field or something like that, I could do, or if I just want to lay out some hedges for looks. Plus we got some stone walls, and I've even got a bunch of bocage, but that really wouldn't be used in Ancients. It'll be used in World War II. And I have made all these fields also that if a player wanted to lay one of these out as a field or open ground or something, they're welcome to them. But they were originally made for my battle group scenario, which was the Lafire Bridge. So that's what these pieces are. And I think this piece is actually, yeah, this piece is actually too big by about an inch. So it couldn't be used, even for the compulsory. But for optionals, these other pieces all fit within this size, so they could be used as optional, either fields, crops, yeah, whatever. Even woods, technically, because you could put one of those down and you could just put a bunch of trees on it and say, you know, it's an orchard or it's a forest, you know, whatever. All right, so that's where I'm at when it comes to my wargaming terrain for Mortem et Gloriam. Thanks for coming and checking this out. And if as soon as I finish or work on this coastline and I work on the Gaelic village, and if I fix these, I'll film another video keeping you up to date, letting you know where I'm at. Okay, before we actually finish the video, immediately after I stopped recording, I ran outside and I sprayed these down with an olive drab, a couple of different shades of olive drab, basically just trying to subdue that bright, light dirt color. And I think you could still see the light underneath, but it's a lot less. So it's a lot more subdued on all of these. So I think they look really good right now. And something I forgot to tell you was I planned on, or I should say I thought about putting trees in the hills, but then it would have made it less of a game table feature, and it would made it more of a diorama feature, because if there are trees sticking up, it would make it harder for formations of troops to move through that without plucking the trees out and moving them. Now I understand I could have made little holes and not glued the trees down and just left them in there, and then as people moved over the hill, I could have unplucked them, but that won't look good. Now, some of these hills are flat enough on the top. I could put one of my trees with their pre-made bases on it, and it would just be a single tree or a couple of trees. Like this one could have multiple trees. But like this, maybe not, because it's got more of a peak. So I don't think there can be a whole lot of trees. All right. Well, now that you've seen what they look like after I spray them, I'm going to let these dry and put them away, and I'll catch you in the next one.